Welcome back, survivor. If you can hear this, it means you're still alive. This is Jack's Nightmares, and this is your next story. The shuttle hissed and the door slid open. Cold air hit like it had been waiting. I stepped out, boots crunching on packed snow, and took a long breath. High altitude, clean. The ridge behind the lodge climbed straight into cloud. No cameras, no noise, no one asking about the last fight. That was the whole reason I came. I didn't need to be seen. I needed to stop moving. The driver passed me my duffel without a word. No handshake, no photo, just a nod. I slung the bag over my shoulder and started up the path toward the lodge. My hands hurt more than they should. Same old swelling in the wrist, elbow still tender. I'd taped them bad back in Boston and never let them heal. That kind of mistake doesn't show up right away. It waits. This place was supposed to be the fix. 1 week. No gyms, no pressure, no press. Just a small private mountain resort carved into a remote slope somewhere past the reach of real roads. Technically we were near Lake Douglas, but the last sign I passed was 20 miles back and covered in snow. The resort itself sat low and wide, designed more like a hunting lodge than a hotel. Wood beams, stone foundation, plow tracks veering off towards scattered cabins. A man could disappear out here without much effort. That was the idea. Inside the main lodge, warmth hit like a second coat. The floor radiated heat up through my boots. A wide fireplace burned behind glass, and the scent of real wood lingered in the air. The lobby had that quiet, expensive silence you get in places that don't cater to tourists. One person was checking in ahead of me, a couple of ski jackets hung on the rack, and the front desk clerk stood straight like he didn't get many walk-ins. I gave him my name, my real name. No point in playing games here. He didn't flinch, just keyed me in, handed over the card, and ran through the basics. Gym open sunrise to sundown, heated pool and sauna, laundry across from the kitchen. Kitchen itself ran full hours from 7 to 9, not many guests this season. Storm warning coming, so the snow machines were set to run by nightfall. I nodded along. I didn't need much. Just quiet, food, and something hot for the joints. He slid a little folded trail map across the counter and circled the path to my cabin. Said I'd find the place ready, heating already on. The night manager, a woman with half a grey braid and half a voice left, gave me a friendly glance but didn't ask where I came from. She'd been working here for years, she said, through avalanches and power cuts. I liked her immediately. She was the kind of person who made your presence feel normal instead of noticed. My cabin was quiet and low lit, halfway buried in the snowbank like it had grown out of the ridge. Inside, the walls were cedar, the air dry and clean. The radiator gave a soft hum, and a kettle sat ready on a small stove. I didn't unpack, just dropped the bag by the wall, filled a glass from the tap, and sat on the edge of the bed with a long breath. It was the first time in months I didn't hear my phone buzzing, or a cutman telling me to breathe through it, or a manager telling me I couldn't pull out now. I rolled my shoulders back against the log wall and just sat there. Quiet wasn't empty, it was heavy and honest. My coach had said I needed to take time or the time would take me. I didn't argue. He'd trained better fighters than me and buried one too. I woke early the next morning, not because of an alarm, but because my body had been trained not to waste hours. Pale daylight pushed through the curtains. The sky outside was still dim, just enough light to make the frost on the window pane glow. I moved slow, ankles first, then knees, then hips. Nothing sharp, nothing flashy. Old injuries want attention if you rush. I took the floor and ran through band work, shoulder mobility, light resistance loops. A few slow rounds of shadow movement, not enough to sweat, just to breathe right. The ache in my elbow was less angry than the day before. I counted that as a win. Breakfast in the lodge was quiet. A long table near the window, hot eggs and oatmeal already set up buffet style, and only a few other people eating. Most were older. A couple young kids stomping boots near the bench. Across the room, 2 mountain guides in red jackets talked in low voices about snowpack readings and the need to trigger controlled slides before the storm hit. Their tone was calm, like it was just another Tuesday. People in this part of the country took the mountains seriously, but not dramatically. I respected that. One couple across the table recognized me. Not from television, probably from a fight night 3 years ago when I broke a man's nose in front of a screaming crowd and walked away with a bruised hand and a contract extension. They smiled, asked politely for a photo. I gave it to them. I didn't smile wide, but I didn't tell them no either. Sometimes it's easier to say yes and move on than explain why you came here in the first place. They didn't press me with questions. That helped. Mid-morning, I found the gym. It wasn't big, but it was well kept. Rubber floor, racks with old but solid plates, a rowing machine by the window that faced the eastern ridge. I kept the tape light on my hands, not for training, just to stop myself from peeling at the old wounds. Rope work, steady and controlled. 10 minutes on the rower, focusing on rhythm instead of numbers. No music, no timer. I moved until my body said enough. The dread that usually lives under my ribs during camp wasn't here. There was no crowd waiting for blood, no rounds. Just repetition. I liked that. Afterward, I hit the cold plunge for a minute, and then sat in the sauna. Low heat, nothing aggressive, just enough to coax the tension out of my neck and shoulders. I sat back, closed my eyes, and didn't think about contracts or cuts or pay-per-view deals. I didn't think about the kid I almost knocked out of the sport last fall. I didn't think about the bruises I gave or the ones I got. I just breathed. I walked back to the cabin hungry and warm, and for the first time in a long time, I felt like maybe I had come to the right place. For the first 2 days, I see only ordinary things. A family building a small snow ramp for sliding. A group of college kids pretending the outdoor hot tub is a battlefield and laughing when the steam blows at their faces. Staff hauling firewood on a sled. In the lounge, a big television cycles weather, winter sports, and headline news with stock footage. Some disease story gets a lower third every hour or so. A hospital in a city shows crowded hallways. Another clip shows a press conference with officials who use the word contained, like it is a lid you can snap on a jar. I pay half attention. We have heard these kinds of stories before. By night 3, the disease story is not a small headline anymore. It is the lead. Flights cancelled in several hubs, a lockdown in a few districts. The anchor keeps saying the word precaution. Guests start talking about it at the bar. The bartender turns the volume down because the sound is ruining tips. A ski instructor in a red jacket tells a couple that the mountain is the safest place in the region because people up here take care of their own. He speaks like a man who believes it. I want to believe it too. On day 4, I call my coach. The line drops twice. When it holds, he tells me to stay put and not get dragged into someone else's panic. He says the gym back home is closing for a deep clean and that a few friends are stuck at an airport with a hard delay. He laughs the way a man laughs when he does not want to show worry. I tell him I will sit tight. I do not promise to relax. That word never fits my mouth. The storm rolls in that evening. Thick flakes that blur the trees and soften the walkways. The resort shifts into winter mode. Plows work the parking lot. Staff set out extra lanterns and check the generator. I eat a heavy pasta dish and burn my tongue because I am not patient. The televisions show more city footage. The phrase abnormal behavior pops up in a banner. I am not a doctor, but that phrase is not a small one. Families start eating earlier. People want to be in their rooms before the wind kicks. Day 5 is quiet in the morning and loud by mid-afternoon. A group from town is late with the weekly delivery. The head of maintenance, a man named Tom with big hands and a scar on his knuckle, says it is the snow. He says this delay happens every few winters. He does not look worried. At dusk, the power flickers 3 times and then holds. The night manager hands out battery lights just in case. Kids use them to make shadow shapes on the wall. Their parents tell them to keep the light out of the eyes of other guests. Small rules are a relief you can hold. Someone in the lounge plays a video on a phone, and the small crowd around him stiffens altogether. It is a shaky clip from a sidewalk in a city. A group in the distance moves wrong. Not fast, not like a sprint, just wrong. Head tilted, gait crooked, arms hanging like weight was added in the joints during the walk. A police cruiser bumps a curb and taps a hydrant at low speed with no reaction. The man holding the phone says it is fake, and his voice cracks at the end of the word. He turns it off. The bartender raises the volume on a cooking show. We all pretend that the smell of garlic on the air is more important than the silence we just heard. On day 6, the road is a rumor. The plow stops coming. The manager says the county is busy down the valley with outages. A skier faceplants near the lower lift and pops up with a grin, blood bright on the snow. And the medic at the base treats her with the same calm hands he must use every winter. Cough syrup runs low in the shop and parents start asking for extra tissues, extra tea, extra anything. I do an easy circuit on the rower, a little grip work, and then force myself to lie in the sauna and rest. Rest feels like failure, but the body does not care about pride. The body cares about stacks of good choices. That night, the emergency alert tone cuts through the cooking show and slams the lounge into a quiet that feels like a held breath. The screen shows a map blocky with red squares. Stay in place, the alert says. Limit travel. The anchor reads a statement that uses the words aggressive behavior, biting incidents, and do not attempt physical restraint. Those words are not normal. I think about my hands and the way bone meets bone when a jaw shuts at the wrong angle. I know the human body as a system of levers and joints. I also know that a system on fire ignores normal limits. Morning 7 hits with a crack of ice in the trees that sounds like small arms. The resort loses cell service during breakfast. No messaging, no calls. The landline at the desk still works but routes to a loop that says all circuits are busy. People start asking the front desk for rides down the mountain. The front desk says the road is not safe. Then the generator hiccups and the lights drop to half power. A low cheer rolls through when the maintenance team brings it back, but the cheer dies too fast. Hope is brittle when the news keeps chewing it. By afternoon, a truck appears at the edge of the parking lot, grill buried in a drift like a nose in a pillow. The driver's door hangs open. There is a smear on the edge that looks like a hand was dragged there, not pressed. Tom and I walk out with a snow shovel, 2 ski poles, a fire extinguisher, and a rope. I bring the extinguisher because it is heavy and honest and needs no training. We sweep the truck with quick eyes and slow steps. No one in the cab. Inside smells like damp wool and diesel. Tom finds half a sandwich in the passenger footwell that has not frozen yet. He leaves it there. He checks the bed and finds a broken crate. The label says, canned goods. The crate is empty. Boot prints point toward the tree line and vanish where the wind has coated the surface. We get back to the lobby and the manager locks the main doors. The night shift moves a couch to block the side entrance. No one says lockdown, but that is what it is. The ski instructor in the red jacket introduces himself as Liam and walks the halls with Tom to check windows. A mother named Eleanor volunteers to set up a small sickbay in a conference room. She is a nurse and has 2 kids who watch her with the open stare that kids get when a parent is doing something serious. I tell the manager I will help with whatever needs muscle. She nods and says we keep things simple. Simple is safe. Sometime after dark, a knock hits the glass at the main doors. Not polite, flat and steady. The manager shakes her head, but then a voice cuts through the wind. Help, please. We see a group down on the steps. 5 people, 2 adults in front. One of them holding a blanket wrapped around a smaller body. Another adult behind, limping. A teen with a backpack looking like a pack mule. The manager hesitates, then opens one door wide enough for one person at a time. We pull them in and get the bolt back as fast as we can. The last man through is the limper. He stumbles, and I catch him under the arms without thinking. His jacket sleeve is torn. The skin under it looks chewed, not sliced. He shakes and looks past me like he is counting something I cannot see. We move them to the conference room. Elena lays the limper on a table and peels the jacket back. The bite is ugly even without gore. Ragged shape, deep. The man says a dog did it. Elena keeps her voice neutral. She says he needs heat, fluids, and rest, and that we will clean it. The man keeps repeating that the dog did it. He says the dog was on 2 legs when it lunged. The last sentence is not possible, but he says it like a fact and his eyes do not blink right. I do not judge medicine. I do what I can do. I organize a quick sweep for tools. We collect ski poles, duct tape, a handful of kitchen knives, 2 heavy pans, a box of nails, and 3 rolls of plastic sheeting. We break 2 damaged chairs for their legs and sand the ends on concrete so they do not splinter on first impact. I tape one of the long kitchen knives to a ski pole to make a crude spear, then test the flex and tape it tighter. The weight balance is not pretty, but it points and it stabs. I show Liam how to keep the tip away from his own body when he moves around corners. He nods quick and learns faster than most. The limper dies just before dawn. Elena covers his face with a towel and keeps her kids outside the room. The teen who came in with the group sits in the hall with his hands jammed under his thighs. He stares at his shoes like they will tell him what to do. The woman with the blanket turns out to be holding a toddler who is asleep. The toddler makes small noises and chews air in her sleep as if the dream has food in it. The man who came with the limper stands with his back on the wall like he is holding the building up. He thanks us without looking at our faces. I am finishing a cup of black coffee in a paper cup when the dead man starts to move on the table. No one in the room speaks. The towel lifts like a slow curtain and falls to the side. The dead man sits up with a roll of his core that looks too smooth for the damage his body took overnight. His eyes are open and glassy, and he moves his jaw side to side like a child testing a new retainer. Elena steps back, then steps forward again, with a motion that has both fight and duty in it. I put the cup down and pick up the spear. I do not go close. I use distance. I tell the few people in the room to get behind me and to not grab my arms. The dead man swings his legs off the table and stands. His feet do not find balance like a normal person. He leans too far forward and corrects late, like an amateur on skates. He walks anyway. He makes a noise that is not a groan. It is a breath torn at the edges. His face does not track us as one thing. His eyes jump. I plant my left foot, use the ski pole as a line, and drive the tip into the bridge of his nose and through the back of his head. One motion, straight and clean. The pole flexes, and I ride the flex so it does not slap me. The weight on the other end drops. I step back quick, hold the pole, and then pull straight out so I do not bend the blade. The body folds to the floor with no ceremony. No one cheers. Elena breathes out and sets her jaw. She tells me, "Do not touch your face and wash your hands now." I rinse the pole with a bucket and bleach. I keep my eyes on the door while I work. I do not want the kids to see the floor. Liam walks in with Tom, and both of them stop halfway like the room has a wall that air cannot cross. Elena says we quarantine the group that came in. No one argues. Word spreads by the time the dining room opens for coffee. People ask for details with the soft voice people use at funerals. Some ask if the man could have been saved. Others ask if the story about people standing back up is real or a rumor. I keep my answers short. We have no time to smooth edges. There is a line between comfort and lies. If we cross it now, we will not find our way back. By midday, 2 more arrive from the village. They do not knock. They hit the glass like birds and smear down the pane, leaving marks that look like fingerprints and not like smudges. One is a woman in a torn coat. One is a man with a bare head. The woman finds her feet and slaps the glass with both palms. The man works his jaw like he is chewing something without teeth. We back away from the door. The woman ceases slapping and starts butting her forehead against the glass. It leaves a dull circle each time. Tom curses under his breath. The manager says we cannot let them in. No one in the lobby argues. The woman keeps going until her skin splits. She does not react. The man bites the edge of the door and shakes his head like a dog that does not know what a door is. His teeth squeal on the metal. We pull the couch tighter across the side entrance. We move the pool table in front of the double doors to the deck. Chairs get stacked and tied. We pass out the improvised weapons to people who are not frozen by fear. I keep my spear. Liam tapes a short knife to the side of a pool cue like a bayonet and tests it on a rolled rug. It tears clean. He grins quick and then stops, as if he feels guilty for feeling ready. Eleanor turns the conference room into a triage bay with boxes of supplies from housekeeping and the kitchen. She asks me to raid the maintenance closet. I bring back nitrile gloves, bleach, extra trash bags, duct tape, and a box of cheap painter masks. They are almost nothing. Almost is more than zero. A little before dusk, someone opens their window in a second-floor room to smoke. The cold drags the scent. The woman from the glass hears it or smells it or just wants another object. She lurches toward a bush below the window and pulls at the branches. The man finds the maintenance door on the side wing and paces in front of it like a machine that needs one command. I tell the manager to send someone up to close the window. She sends me because I move the fastest. I sprint 2 flights, knock on the door, step in, and tell the guy to stamp the cigarette in the sink. He is offended for 1 second, and then he hears the muffled bump from outside, and the offense slides away. He closes the window, and we stand in a silence that holds the whole building. When I get back down, the front doors are dark with shapes. Not a mob, maybe a dozen. The woman from earlier is pressed in the center like a pressed flower. Her forehead is raw, and the glass shows a matte circle where her skin keeps tracing the same trail. The man with the bare head has his forehead on the metal rail. He is still. He is not resting. He is reset and waiting. The others shift in small jerks. Their heads twitch when the wind shifts. When the generator kicks and the lights surge, 2 of them turn toward the windows at the dining room, as if the light is not just sight but also a scent. Night inside a resort with a circle of infected around it is not a quiet we can enjoy. Sound carries wrong. Every footstep feels loud. Every whisper feels like it travels to the glass. Families settle into rooms. Staff pairs up for checks. I sit in the lounge with the spear across my knees. Liam sits next to me with his cue. Tom takes the late shift in the boiler room because the generator needs a real human to listen to it. The manager keeps a legal pad with names and room numbers and crosses people into columns, like a person trying to hold order with ink. Around midnight, a couple from cabin 5 tries to run. He is a tall man with a beard and a face that asks for a bar stool. She is a small woman in a heavy parka with the fur still bright around the hood. They get the side door open before the couch can be dragged back in place. I yell and sprint, but not fast enough. The door hits the stop, the cold slaps in, and the night puts a hand around the hallway. The 2 hit the snow like kids late for a bus. The man reaches the parking lot and then stops because he hears the sound that a mouth makes when it finds skin. He turns. The woman is not on her feet. She is half up, the fur hood turned into a handle in a pair of hands that do not care about her face. He takes 3 steps back, and a figure out of the dark grabs his calf with both hands and pulls his legs out from under him. The sound he makes is not a word. It is a broken pump trying to prime. I reach the door with Liam, and we slam it in the same second. We do not speak. We listen. The wind washes a few scraps of sound away, then everything is quiet again, except for the small bump of a body against a rail and the slow slide of snow on a slope. We do not sleep. We trade shifts like men at a fire that cannot be left alone. Dawn bleeds grey into the glass and shows the truth we already knew. There is nothing in the parking lot that we can save. There are tracks. There are dragged marks. I tell Liam to go breathe in a stairwell and then come back. He nods, goes, and returns with a face that looks older by a year. Morning brings new visitors who do not knock. 3 infected wander in from the cross-country trail. One wears a lifty jacket with a name patch that says, Chris. His chin is rimed with frost. His eyes look like marble. He moves like joints were greased with the wrong fluid. A second one is in a bathrobe. Bare legs, blue-white skin. No shame, no care. The third is a teenager in a hoodie I recognize from the gift shop. The teenager's mouth is open and his tongue is dry and cracked, like he had been drinking snow instead of water for too long. They drift to the deck and stop when they reach the rail. They sense the barrier. They test it lightly. The sound is a polite tap that does not match what is behind it. We convene a small meeting in the lounge. 12 adults who still have enough control to listen and think. The manager runs it. She is blunt without being cruel. She says the road is blocked. She says the generator fuel will last a week if we cut heat to the empty cabins and keep only the main lodge warm. She says the shutters on the ski shop can be pulled down and locked because glass is a luxury, not a wall. She says we ration food now, not later. No one votes against rationing. Hunger will vote for us if we try to skip this step. I outline simple rules for defense. No one fights with bare hands. No one grapples unless a person is about to be taken and there is no other option. Use distance. Use objects. Strike once, then step away and check your feet. Never look at one target so long that you forget the rest of the room. Keep 2 people on a door. Touch each other before you move so you know where the other person is without looking. Do not waste energy on big swings that feel heroic and land sloppy. Control is life. Slop is a death sentence. Heads nod. Some eyes wake up. Orders are better than fear. We build simple tools. 2 broom handles with knives taped to one end. 1 metal closet rod wrapped in hockey tape as a baton. 3 ski poles cut short for tight holes. 4 pot lids as shields in case blood or spit is a risk. I assign people to stand with whoever they can protect. Teenagers with their own parents. Staff paired with staff. I put myself on a roving loop. Liam runs the vestibule. Tom runs internal access. The manager stays at the desk with a whistle and a radio that reaches only the basement and the kitchen. The radio is stupid for long range, but perfect for a building. We make noise in the wrong place, the infected answer. While we drag the pool table toward a better angle, a figure bangs on a side window hard enough to send a long crack across the glass. The sound pulls 3 more from the trees like a magnet tips. We cut the noise. We freeze. The infected do not. They have a simple program. Move toward noise. Press. Repeat. We need to give them no reason to press. A man in a brown sweater starts yelling in the lobby that we should run for it now. He points at the snowmobiles the guides use and says he can take a trail down to the highway. He says he knows a shortcut. The manager tells him there is no shortcut through the forest in this kind of winter without a guide who knows the route. The man keeps yelling. He starts toward the door. I stand in his path and keep my voice level. If he opens the door, the air pressure will pull it wide. He stops. His face shifts through 3 expressions in 1 second. Anger, fear, collapse. He sits down hard and puts his hands over his face. We give him space. Sometimes the only kindness is to let a man burn the fuel in his panic tank without feeding it. By evening, the infected no longer press at the doors. They hover near noise, then drift away. The cold slows them, but it's not a strategy, just a fragile advantage. That second night, sleep deprivation sets in. People begin migrating toward the lobby, clustering for comfort. The manager allows it. Less efficient for heat, but better for oversight. One woman tries to boil water with a candle. We stop her before the fumes can poison her. In the lobby, we make tea. Holding a hot cup gives anxious hands a task. Around 2 in the morning, a noise from the service hall wakes me. Liam joins me with his cue. I grab the spear, then think better of it. Don't want to puncture a pipe. The noise turns out to be a raccoon with a broken leg crawling along a ceiling pipe. I knock it down with a mop. It shows its teeth, then dies on the mat without a struggle. A reminder, small issues foreshadow bigger ones. At dawn, Tom reports the generator fuel gauge is wrong. We only have 5 days of light use. We shut down more circuits. The lodge dims. We try the radio again. Only fragments break through. Do not head north. Refugees, then static. Eleanor writes it down, not for clarity, for proof we aren't alone. Midday, a door slams upstairs. A cluster of infected stirs beneath a balcony and moves as one toward the sound. We brace the glass door fast. Their faces pressed to the window, mouths moving, streaking the surface. Eleanor calms her kids nearby with a story, not for content, for rhythm. We set fallback lines inside. Hallway, conference room, kitchen, marked with tape and numbers. We drill the motions. After that, people stop seeing me as a face on screens. I'm a tool. That's fine. As dusk nears, the infected drift back to the main doors. The balcony glass held. For now. But wood that bent once will fail faster next time. We reinforce it quietly. Tom uses a manual screwdriver. Noise costs too much. At night, snow falls. The infected bump the doors less. At 2 in the morning, a scream cuts from upstairs. A man lies bitten on the floor. The creature that did it escaped out the open window. No rope, no ladder. It jumped. Fear gets heavier when the enemy breaks the line and leaves no trail. We begin hourly door checks. 2 knocks, then 1. If no response in 30 seconds, we go in. Eleanor asks me to sit outside the conference room. First quarantine. The teen inside offers to help. I give him jobs. It works. Day 9. We serve half breakfasts. No complaints. Everyone sees what this is now. The infected linger but don't leave. I ask Liam about the lift access road. He says it's risky, steep, icy. I tell him we'll scout it. He starts prepping gear without being told. At 1 in the afternoon we step out. Cold bites fast. We hug the lodge, then enter the trees. Liam spots tracks. Human, barefoot. The stride is unnatural. We veer wide under the lift. A wrong smell rides the wind. The first switchback is too narrow, too slick. A van would slide and roll. Still, with sand, chains, and a clear day, it's doable, if we draw the infected away. Then Liam spots them. 2 figures up the trail, backs turned, 2 still. One tilts its head like a broken hinge. The other takes a step. No breath visible, no words. We back off carefully, loop wide through the trees, not risking scent, not testing luck. Near the lodge, more infected roam. The storm must have pushed them downhill. We wait, then sprint to the service door. Tom pulls it shut behind us. The sound isn't safety, but it feels like a promise. Eleanor and the manager meet us in the hall. We tell them we'll need more than luck to get out. The bigger plan starts in the gear room. We take inventory again with new eyes. Snowshoes, 2 dozen. Good. Sleds 6. Rope plenty. Tarps 4. Flares a box and a half. Fuel, low. Radios, 3 short range. 1 long range with a broken antenna. Food, tight but not zero. Water, fine if we keep the pipes from freezing. Tools, enough for simple traps and barriers. Weapons, whatever we make. I look at the pool cues, the ski poles, the pans, and I feel a kind of cold respect. This is not a cage or a ring. This is a workshop with a war in it. We set 3 simple traps outside the service door for testing. Nothing fancy. 2 trip lines tied to pots with rocks in them that will fall and clatter if someone snags the line. 1 fence of chairs outside the door in a lazy maze to slow anything that gets through, so we have angles. We do not trust traps to save us. We trust them to buy a second and to talk to us when we are not looking. We set a rule that no one moves the chairs while the trap is live. Rules save knees and skulls. Late afternoon brings a group out of the trees that moves different from the rest. Faster, fresh dead, that is my guess. 2 men in lift jackets, a woman in a puffy coat, and a smaller form with a scarf tied across a lower face like a bandit costume. The speed is not a sprint. It is a stronger walk with more balance than the older ones. They stop at the edge of the deck and tilt their heads as one. Something about the sound from inside makes them curious. Like they are catching a thread. We hold back and keep everything quiet. The 4 drift away after a minute. The scarf is the last to turn. I cannot tell if there is a face under it. I do not look harder. Some questions drain you for no reward. We eat dinner in shifts. Rice, beans, canned corn mixed with butter. It tastes like fuel. People keep their voices low. A little boy asks if the sick people are better now. His father says yes, and then looks at me with a face that says he knows the word is wrong and he does not care. I do not correct him. The boy sleeps better with that word in the air. Let him. The world will give him the truth soon enough. A little after 10, the glass at the balcony sighs. That is what it sounds like. A soft, broken breath. The crack from earlier moves half an inch. I post 2 people there with shields and poles. I take the corner where the hallway turns toward the kitchen. Liam runs the deck doors. Eleanor keeps the kids in the stairwell with a book and a lamp. Tom sits in the boiler hall with a wrench. The manager writes another list because lists are the only paper armor she has. The push comes at midnight like a tide without water. The infected stack against the main doors with dull pressure. No screams, no howling. Just wait. The pool table shifts half an inch. The couch creaks. Wood talks in little pops. The balcony crack creeps another inch. The slide locks shake. We hold places, and move only when numbers shift. The trip line outside the service door drops a pot. The clatter is bright and clear. A figure hits the chairs in the maze and tumbles. It rises wrong, legs under hips, elbows bent too far, and then it presses its face against the little window in the service door and drags a dry tongue across the glass with a scraping sound. I could live a long time and not miss that sound. We cannot hold forever. I know it at the same time everyone else in the lobby knows it, even if we say nothing. Wood breaks, skin tears, tape fails. The plan has to change before the materials decide for us. I speak low to the manager. We need to draw them away for 1 hour. Just one. Enough to get chains on the van and make a run at the first switchback with a sandbag and shovels. She says, "Who goes?" I say me, Liam, Tom, if he can spare the boiler for a spell, and 2 more with legs and heads for this. She says, "We do not have 2 more. She is right. We have 2 who want to be heroes. That is different. We pick one of them and tell the other to watch the kids. He looks offended and then proud, as if we gave him a guard post at a gate. He stands taller. Good. The diversion is simple and dumb. Most real things are. We will use flares and noise at the far side of the grounds to pull the infected off the doors, and then loop back along the tree line to the service door, while the rest of the team moves the van with chains and sand to the first switchback. If we can get the van that far, we can wedge it into the ditch on purpose to make a barrier and a handrail for the next move. If we cannot, we abandon it and use the sleds. The point is not the van, the point is movement. At 2 in the morning, we brief the dozen adults who can help. We show them the loop on a hand-drawn map. We assign hand signals. We repeat the rule about no shouting unless you need a life saved now. We tape flashlights to forearms instead of putting them in hands so hands stay free. We put bands of duct tape around the middle of each person's jacket, not near the arms or legs, so we can spot our own in the dark with a quick sweep of light. We keep the infected out of our minds while we plan. Anything else is a trap. Liam and I step outside first. The air is dry and cuts the throat. The snow is high but holds if you move steady. The night is not black. The snow makes a dull glow. We move along the side of the lodge and hug the shadow line. I can hear the soft push of bodies at the main doors on the other side. The sound is like loose grain sliding in a silo. We do not look. We reach the far edge of the lot, pull 2 flares, and light them. The red burns hard and steady. The hiss fills my head. I toss one flare toward the maintenance shed and roll the other across the deck boards like a puck. The boards are wet and the flare leaves a bright scar. The response is fast. Shapes peel from the doors and turn toward the light. The balcony crowd turns too. They flow with more unity than during the day. The light is a rope through their noses. They do not run. They all just go. We give it 10 seconds, and then we run the loop. I keep the spear close to my body, and my feet careful. Liam breathes quiet and even. He is 20-something, but he moves like a pro. We cut behind the shop, jump the low fence, and land in snow up to the shins. I hear one shape break off from the larger group and stumble our way. I slow, wait, and when it wanders within a yard, I point the spear and stick, step, pull, and move. No extra swings, no words. Liam catches the elbow of a second one with the butt of his cue and shoves it sideways into a drift where it sinks and flails like a child in a beanbag chair. We do not finish it. Time matters more than clean floors. By the time we slide in through the service door, Tom has the chains out and 2 people are shoveling sand with stiff arms. The van is warm enough to start if we ask it to. We do not start it. We push. 8 bodies on steel and rubber. The wheels roll slow and then grab. The chains rasp on ice. The van moves a foot, 2 feet. The breath from 8 mouths hangs like flags and then blows away. We get the van to the corner of the lot before the infected notice the sound of chain on ice and turn. The flares are dying. The red is less bright. The hiss is thin. We make the call. Bring the van to the service road mouth and wedge it there as a barrier. We will not make the switchback with this much attention around us. We push. The chains sing. The van slews left and kisses the drift. We bounce it out and keep contact. A woman on the shovel slips and almost goes down under a wheel, and I grab her coat and yank her back up by the collar. She says thanks in a voice that barely comes out. Her eyes are clear. She is still here. The first infected from the door hits the edge of the lot with a shuffle and a frozen step like a weak skate. Then 3 more. Then 10. We do not try to outpush a tide. We angle the van and roll it sideways into the mouth of the service road. It thumps into the ditch and sits there like a cork. The path is blocked for the moment. That buys the lodge another few hours if the main doors fail. Not much. Enough. We fall back to the service door and slam it behind us. Someone drops a pot over the line. The clatter tells me a shape touched a trip string 5 seconds after we closed the door. Good timing. Bad luck for whatever tripped it. Inside, the lobby team reports the door is holding, but the couch is splintering. The balcony glass bows in the center like a belly. Tom runs to the boiler. The manager calls for more screws. I take 4 people to the balcony, and we brace the wood with a diagonal from the rail to the floor. It is ugly carpentry. It works for now. I look through the glass at faces that do not see me. Their breath crusts on their lips in little shells. Their hands leave a polish on the glass. The thought comes clean and simple. This building is a lung that will fail. We need out. I pull Elena aside and tell her we have 2 nights left at most. She already knows. She won't leave with just her kids. Only with a real plan and a group. I walk her through it. Sleds, rope, snowshoes, a whiteout or near whiteout departure. Keeping low and silent. We'll avoid roads. Use the back ridge to reach the ranger station 2 miles down. Liam says there's a stove and radio. Tom says the stove works. Radio is a maybe. The manager says she's staying to cover those who can't leave. I don't like it, but I let her. We prep gear quietly. No zippers or plastic. Layers of wool, no metal. Insulated water bottles. 1 med kit. Bandages pre-treated in diluted bleach just in case. Each person gets a pole with a taped knife and a tool for close-in defense. We pack in silence. At dusk, the infected press tight around the lodge again. It gives us cover. We stage in the service hall. Small teams. Liam leads with me, Eleanor and the kids in the center, Tom at the back with a sled. 2 teens carry quiet packs. The manager stays with those who won't leave or can't. She hugs me once, hard, then tells me to go. Outside, the wind cuts hard. Snow covers our tracks quick but slows us down. We keep tight spacing and move with care. No talking, just hand signals. We're nearly clear of the buildings when a figure steps from the gear shed. Male, tall, in a lift jacket. Name patch says Chris. His movement is off. He walks up slow. I put my spear to his chest. He leans into it. I drive it up under the chin. He drops. We pass the body without speaking. The woods close in. The lodge fades. We cross a frozen creek, 1 by 1. On the ridge, the wind covers us. Elena's twins start to tire, so we rotate them into the sled. I hand my spear to Liam and take rear guard. I glimpse the lodge again, distant. I think of the manager and feel a flash of anger. I don't show it. I'll need it later. The ranger station is a small structure with a damaged window. We hold the others back while Liam and I clear it. Inside, 2 infected. We handle them clean. No noise if we can help it. Once it's clear, we bring the group in. Tom starts the wood stove with care. Warmth returns. The kids calm. Everyone has a task. We find a radio but no power. In a closet, a crank pack. We hook it up. The light comes on. We crank. Through static, a woman's voice. High ground, then silence. Within 20 minutes, infected find us. Just 1 at first, then a few. They press the porch boards. We damp the fire. The room cools. We assign watches. No complaints. I take first watch by the cracked window. An infected finds the glass, presses its hand to it, then drifts off. I stay still, spear at shoulder height. I think about gym sparring and how this isn't that. In the ring, someone wants to win. Out here, they just want to erase. Eleanor takes over at 3. I eat cold rice. It's dry, but I eat it. Liam sleeps upright, cue across his lap. Tom apologizes for snoring. We laugh, low and real. At dawn, we move. The goal, the service tower, then the highway. If it's blocked, we use the median. Elena walks with her kids in the center. I lead. Liam tracks bearings. Tom runs rear. Halfway down, I hear an engine. Faint, far, not snowmobile. Maybe a truck. We freeze. The sound idles, revs, then cuts out. We wait. Then we move. Someone else is out there. At the tower, there are tracks. Human, animal. No threats in sight. The ladder's locked. Tom pops it with a twist of the pry bar. Liam climbs, mounts the antenna from the ranger station, runs the line down. We set up the crank and call out. A man's voice answers. Shelter across the valley is open for women and kids. The bridge at mile marker 8 is blocked. Tunnel is packed with cars and infected. River flats are soft snow over mud. He sounds practiced, worn. We take the notes. We do not ask for more. We adjust course. Bridge is out. Tunnel is dead. We aim for the shelter, because the kids change the math. The descent is tight and slow. We cut off trail and use trees as handles. The snow gives way to patches of old grass, then to berms that hide ditches. We cross a fence with care so no one snags clothing. The kids go over like little cats. The teens help Tom with the sled. I cover the open spots. We move quiet for an hour. Then voices. Human, not infected. 2 men arguing in short bursts. I hold up a fist and the group goes to ground behind a low hedge. I belly up a small rise and peek. 2 men in hunting jackets stand by a pickup with the hood up. One holds a rifle, the other holds a wrench. He is not using it. He is jabbing it in the air to make a point. A third figure sits in the truck bed under a tarp. 2 still. I watch for 1 minute, and then 2. No infected close. The men keep arguing. Then one throws the wrench into the snow and looks up the slope and sees me. He freezes. I hold my hands up and keep the spear low. He raises his arms away from his body to show the rifle is not pointed. We both breathe out. I wave him down. I do not want to shout. He comes up the slope 10 yards and stops. His beard is iced. His eyes look like someone who has been awake for too long. He says, "Are you bit?" I say no. He says same. He points at the truck and says the battery is dead. I say we cannot help with the battery, but we can trade information. He nods, grateful for a normal sentence. We bring our group down slow. The man with the rifle introduces himself as Dale. The other man is his brother. The figure under the tarp is their father. He is dead. They will not leave him in the bed because that is the last piece of home they have. They want to bury him, but the ground is stone. I tell him the shelter across the valley might take families. He says he will not leave his father in a ditch. I say I understand. It is not about logic. It is about a promise he made, and a shape grief takes when the world stops making sense. We give them food for 1 meal. Dale gives us 2 road flares and a box of nails. He also tells us the highway is a mess, but walkable if you take the median. He says the tunnel is a trap. We say we heard the same. We part with a quiet nod. That is what passes for a handshake now. We follow the median with the mountain on our left. The cars are jammed in a lockstep line, windows fogged or smashed, some doors open. No movement inside the nearest ones. The wind pushes loose paper along the shoulder in small hops. Every 100 yards we pass a shape that used to be a person. Some are still. Some shift in the snow in a weak crawl that has no purpose. We give them space. The kids look straight ahead. Elena keeps a steady tone in her voice. She points out a hawk on a light pole and tells the kids it can see 4 times what we can see. That is a real fact and a useful trick for their minds. At mile marker 6, a group steps out from behind a cement barrier. 4 adults, 1 teenager, no kids. They hold tools like weapons, crowbar, shovel, broken hockey stick, and a short axe. The man in front smiles with no warmth. He asks if we have food, fuel, or medicine. I say we have kids and old people first, and we are not stopping. He steps in front of me and sticks the crowbar under the spear tip like he is about to lift the hood on a car. I do not wait for him to finish the pose. I step in and turn the spear so the tip is away from him and bring the butt down on his ankle hard enough to fold it. He yelps and sits. His friends step forward and then stop when Liam goes to my left and the teens lift their knives on poles in a smooth line. The man on the ground curses me with words that have no weight anymore. I tell him I will give him 1 can of corn if he sits there and keeps his hands on his head while we pass. He puts his hands up. He wants the corn more than he wants a fight. I drop the can by his knee and move the group around the barrier. We do not look back. We do not speed up. Speed shows fear. Fear draws sharks. The shelter comes into view near dusk. A low building with 2 buses out front and a crowd managed by 3 volunteers in orange vests. The vests make them look official, even if they are just good men and women standing in cold wind. We approach with hands visible. The volunteers call out questions about bites, fever and symptoms. We answer. Eleanor speaks for the kids. The teen boys show their hands like they are at an airport. The volunteers let us in with a word to keep it clean at the door and a wave toward a card table with a hand sanitizer bottle. The lobby smells like wet wool and soup. The sound is a low murmur. Walls, heat, people, a bad kind of heaven. Inside, a woman in a red sweater checks names. She has a clipboard and a voice that cuts through noise without being mean. I tell her we came from the mountain lodge. Her eyes flick up and hold. She has heard of it. Maybe from someone else who made it out. Maybe from a radio. She writes 8 names for us plus 2 kids. She assigns us a spot in a room with cots. She says the rule is simple. Keep your space clean. Share work. Follow security orders. Everyone nods. Everyone wants rules. We get bowls of soup and bread. The soup is thin and hot and perfect. The kids drink it and go from grey to pink around the lips. Eleanor closes her eyes for 1 second and opens them again with a small shake. She is turning a page in her head. Liam eats slow and watches the doors. Tom leans on a wall and slides down until he is sitting, and then his head snaps forward and jerks back like he fell asleep for 1 second. I take his bowl before it hits the floor. He wakes and says sorry. I tell him he saved our lives twice this week. He laughs and calls me a liar, and then he sleeps for real. The room with cots is warm and loud. People talk in small circles. A man says he came from the airport. A woman says she walked from 3 towns over. A kid draws on a scrap of cardboard with a marker and makes a picture of a house with smoke coming out of the chimney. He shows it to his mother like it is a ticket. She kisses his head and puts the drawing in her pocket. I sit on the end of the cot and unwrap the tape on my hands. The skin under it is white and wrinkled. I leave the scabs alone. I have learned that lesson. I look at Elena's kids, and then at my own hands, and I feel that clean anger again. It is not rage. It is a promise. I go to the front desk and ask about the manager who stayed behind at the lodge. The woman with the clipboard says 2 staff came through late this morning. She reads the names. 1 matches. 1 does not. She does not have a description for the manager. I stand there and feel the floor tilt for a second. I put a hand flat on the desk to keep the world level. The woman watches me and waits. She knows this look. She has given this news all day. She passes me a small card with a time for a radio window in the morning. She says the station will share new routes if they have them and will take names for missing lists. I thank her. I mean it. She is doing the job most of us could not. Night in the shelter is a current you can sleep in if you trust the banks. I sleep in 1-hour chunks. Dreams are short and stupid. I wake thinking I left the stove on at some old apartment I no longer live in. I wake ready to touch gloves, and then realize I am 1,000 miles from a ring. I wake and listen for the sound of hands on glass. I do not hear it. I fall out again. Dawn, the soup line again, bread again. It tastes like survival. A volunteer posts a schedule for work. I sign up for security and hall, not kitchen. I am not a cook. I can carry and stand in the cold without my mind leaving my body. The security lead is a woman who worked events at an arena. She recognizes me and does not make a big thing out of it. She gives me a shift at the east door and a simple rule. Keep the door closed except for organized check-ins. And if someone bolts, let him bolt unless he is a kid. We do not chase grown men into the snow. That is how you lose 2 bodies instead of 1. Good rule. Mid-morning, the radio slot opens. The same calm male voice reads updates. The shelter will send a small bus to the mountain road in the afternoon to look for survivors near the lodge and to recover staff if possible. He lists 3 safe houses by cross streets. He says the river flats are worse now because the thaw started and there are sinkholes. He says a convoy left the city overnight with food and medicine and got pinned on a bridge by a pile-up. He asks for volunteers with rope skills to help clear the bridge without using engines. I look at Liam. He looks at me. This is a list of work with our names on it. I talk to Elena while the kids build a fort out of cots and blankets. I tell her we mean to go back up with the bus if the driver will take us near the lodge. She says she knew I would say that. She does not try to stop me. She asks me to bring back the manager if she is alive. She presses a note into my hand with the names of 2 staff who helped her kids when we were still in the lodge. She says if I see them, tell them the kids made it. I fold the note and put it in my chest pocket with the spear tip pointing at the floor. The bus is a small city shuttle with chains on the tires and a driver who eats sunflower seeds like it is a job. He does not waste words. We load 6 volunteers, including Tom and Liam. We bring rope, crowbars, and 2 shields cut from plastic barrels. The driver says he will not wait more than 15 minutes at the drop. He is right. You do rescues by the clock, or you become the rescue. We roll slow through streets that look like a paused movie. A dog crosses in front of us with a piece of bread in his mouth. He does not look back. We hit the base of the mountain road and start the climb. The chains squawk. The bus rocks like a cradle with bad springs. The driver keeps his hands light on the wheel and his eyes far. At the first switchback, he curses in a language I do not know and eases the bus through a gap that looks smaller than the bus. We make it. He smiles for the first time. Just short of the lodge, the driver stops. He points at figures by the gate. Not human. He refuses to risk the bus. We jump out. He sets a 10-minute timer on the dash. I nod. We move. Liam takes right with the queue. Tom grabs the crowbar. We approach the gate together. 2 infected turn toward us. 1 deer lies dead, neck snapped on the fence. The infected are slow. Easy work. 1 thrust each. We use the deer as a distraction for any others. Inside the lodge, glass is cracked, furniture wrecked. We move through the service hall. The maze of chairs is broken. The lobby shows scuffed footprints. No bodies. Could be good or bad. In the kitchen, someone wrote South Trail on the wall, underlined, with a line drawn to a map. I take a photo with my phone. It's just a camera now. We run back. I hold up 1 finger. The driver nods, shifts into low, and we pull away just as the timer beeps. He taps the dash like a ritual. I like him. Back at the shelter, we show the map to the clipboard woman and the radio man. The same calm voice from earlier. He says the South Trail runs 3 miles and connects to an old service road near a power substation. If anyone made it out, that's where they might be. He calls for a 6-person team at dawn. Sleds, rope, retrieval. Me, Liam, and Tom step forward. 2 fishermen join. 1 woman from the arena crew joins too. Solid. That's 6. That night, wind builds and snow sheets the lot. Inside, I sit with a clipboard and write names. Not just who made it. Everyone. The boy who worked in silence. The manager who stayed to cover the last group. The man who opened a door at the wrong time. People who mattered. I write them to remember they lived. Not just how they died. No labels. Just names. I sleep in my clothes with the spear close and my boots within reach. I wake more than once. The hall stays quiet. I listen, then lie back down. Before dawn, Eleanor gives me a cloth bag with 2 letters. 1 for the manager, 1 for whoever stood guard. She says not to read them. I don't. I tuck the bag into my coat. We leave at first light. Same driver, new battery, same bus. Quiet. I ride near the door, radio clipped to my belt. Snow falls light. The South Trailhead is buried but visible. I test the snowpack. Solid enough. We go. Liam and the arena woman take the sled. A kid rides in the middle. His mom stayed behind to work the kitchen. She let go without a word. Tom carries rope and pry bar. The fishermen have axes. We fall into rhythm. The pass is narrow, lined with bent pines. No one talks unless needed. We find fresh tracks, adults and a child, a sled mark. We keep moving. In a clearing, I spot a dead deer under drift. Coyotes got it. The group we're tracking avoided it. So do we. The trail splits. One side is cleaner. The other, deep cuts, signs of struggle. I test the snow, still warm. We follow. Then we hear it. A voice, faint, calling a name. The manager's. I call back. After a pause, we hear it again. Closer. We find them under a tree. The manager looks thinner but sharp. 2 staffers, a boy, an older man who can't walk well. They have no food left. We give them water. I hand the manager a piece of bread. She tries to return it. I tell her not to. She eats. We move toward the substation. Chain link fence, transformer hum. The gates open. A ranger and 2 linemen wave us in after a quick radio call. The hum might keep infected away. Might. Inside, a heater runs. Rations. We wrap the old man, give him water. The ranger checks his feet. Not good, but manageable. Kids warm up. Everyone takes a task. That's how we work. We call the bus. The driver responds fast. He's nearby, but 2 abandoned cars block the road. We mark the spot and move. 1 car is buried in a snowbank. 1 angled wrong. We tie ropes and pull. The infected start drifting in. Slow, not many yet. We stay calm. The arena woman counts. Liam clears tires. Tom watches the slack. The second car clears. The bus appears. We load gear and people fast. No talk. The door shuts. The ride back is silent. Everyone watching for shapes outside. We reach the shelter before dark. The manager walks in. The room exhales. Elena grabs her kids. Tom sits and doesn't get up again. That night, after the food is passed out and the lights dim, I sit near the back wall and don't say much. I think about the lodge. I think about how long it lasted and how fast it went quiet. I think about the hallways, the windows, and that note on the wall, South Trail. No signature, no explanation, just a direction that gave us a chance. That was enough. I'm not the reason anyone lived. I just helped carry part of it, and I'll do it again tomorrow. Not because I believe things will return to normal, I don't, but because people still need moved, and bridges still need cleared. It's not glory, it's just necessary. By morning, the board is full, shifts posted, guard rotations, supply runs. I take my name off the scout list and move it to bridge crew. I don't need to see new ground right now. I need something to carry. The others do the same. We don't talk about it. We just show up and take what weight we can. There are no heroes here, just people who didn't stop moving. That's all for now. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to keep the stories alive. For now, stay quiet, stay vigilant, and stay alive. Jack's Nightmares, signing off. Until next time, survivor.